This is lesson 6.2, and this lesson is on rates, okay? So a rate is a special ratio, and you learned what a ratio is in 6.1. A ratio is just a comparison of two numbers, and a rate is a special kind of ratio. So you're still comparing two numbers, but a rate compares two quantities that have different units. Now, a unit is how something is measured, okay? So an example would be distance is measured in miles. Time is measured in hours. So miles is a unit. It's a way something is measured. Hours is a unit. It is a way something is measured. There's lots of units. Inches is a unit, minutes, all kinds of things. It's the way you measure something, okay? We can find rate of speed by comparing miles to hours. Okay, so Chris drove, this is an example of comparing the rate of speed by comparing miles to hours. Chris drove 107 miles in 2 hours. What is his rate? Well, his rate is 107 miles in 2 hours. Okay, that's how we would write his rate of speed. He went 107 miles in 2 hours. Okay, so it's a ratio. It's just like we were working with ratios in lesson 6.1, but it's a special kind of ratio where you have two different kinds of units, miles and hours, two different things that you're measuring, distance and time. Okay, that's a rate. Now we're going to get into a special kind of rate called a unit rate. Okay, so a unit rate is a rate in which the second quantity is 1. So by the second quantity, I mean the second term. So this is the first quantity, 107, and this is the second quantity, 2. So in a unit rate, the second quantity is 1. So this second one down here is going to be 1 in a unit rate, all right? So here's an example. Gerald pays $90 for 6 yoga classes. What is the cost per class? Meaning, how much does it cost for one class? So we want to find the unit rate. How much for one class? So here's how you find unit rate when they give you a rate like this, $90 for 6 yoga classes. First, you're going to write what's called the word ratio. You have to figure out what word goes on top and what word goes on bottom. And since we're trying to find per class, you know that class goes on bottom because it says the second quantity is 1. We want to find out the cost for one class. So we want the second quantity to be 1. So we're going to put dollars on top and class on bottom. Okay, that's the word ratio, dollars to class. All right. Now we're going to write the given ratio. What does that mean? The given ratio is the numbers that they give you in the problem. They give you $90. So since dollars is on top, we're going to put 90 on top. They give you 6 yoga classes. So since classes is on bottom, we're going to put the 6 on bottom. Okay. Then what we want to know is what is the unit rate, which means we want to know what is the rate if the second number is 1. So class, for one class, how much does it cost for one class? Okay, so what we're going to do is write what's called the missing ratio. Because we know we want 1 on the bottom, but this number is missing. That's why it's called the missing ratio. Then we can use math to solve for that missing number. So that's the last step. Solve for the missing ratio by multiplying the two corners. Okay, so in my ratio, whichever two corners I have, I'm going to multiply those two together. In this case, I have these two corners. Sometimes you'll have these two, but right now we have these two. So I'm going to multiply 90 times 1, okay? 90 times 1 equals 90. Then I'm going to divide by the third corner. That's this 6 right here. I'm going to divide by 6. Well, in this unit, remember, you're allowed to use a calculator. So you just get your calculator out. You don't have to do the long division like we did in the last unit. And so you're going to get your calculator out and do 90 divided by 6. And that's 15. So this number is 15. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that if Gerald pays $90 for 6 yoga classes, he pays $15 for 1 yoga class. Okay? Or another way to say that is $15 per class. Okay? And that is how you find unit rate. Basically, unit means one unit, and you're finding how much for 1 class. Okay? That is lesson 6.2, rates.